Man sends selfie while hiking. When wife sees it, she calls the police. Mark had always loved the great outdoors, and hiking was one of his favorite activities. So when he had a free day to himself, he decided to explore a nearby mountain range. As he hiked, he was constantly in awe of the breathtaking scenery around him. The towering peaks, lush forests, and sparkling streams seemed almost too perfect to be real. Hey there, ViralVids here. Before we go on, like this video, smash the subscribe button, and click the notification bell. We post the most beautiful, amazing, and scary videos every single day. Let's proceed with the video. As he climbed higher and higher, Mark began to feel a sense of peace and freedom that he rarely experienced in his busy city life. The only sounds he could hear were the rustling of leaves and the chirping of birds. He felt a sense of accomplishment with each step he took, and the stunning views that unfolded before him only added to his joy. As the sun rose higher in the sky, Mark started to feel the strain of the hike. His muscles ached and his throat was parched, but he pushed on, determined to reach the summit. He took small breaks to catch his breath and rehydrate, but he knew he had to keep moving. Finally, he reached a clearing that offered a stunning view of the valley below. The sight took his breath away, and he knew he had to capture the moment. He took out his phone and snapped a quick selfie, making sure to capture the magnificent scenery behind him. Mark smiled as he looked at the photo, feeling a sense of pride and accomplishment. He knew his wife would be proud of him, and he wanted to share the experience with her, so he sent her the selfie, along with a message telling her how much he loved her and how beautiful the hike had been. As he continued his climb to the summit, Mark felt energized and invigorated. He knew that reaching the top would be an incredible achievement, and he couldn't wait to see the views from there. He was almost there when his phone buzzed, indicating that he had a new message. He stopped for a moment to check it, expecting to see a reply from his wife, but instead, he saw a message from an unknown number. It said, "We've got your wife on the line. She says you're in trouble. What's going on?" Mark was confused and alarmed. He quickly tried to call his wife, but there was no answer. He texted her, asking if she was okay, but he received no reply. He started to feel a sense of panic creeping in. Had something happened to her? He tried calling her again, and this time she answered. Her voice was frantic and scared, and Mark could barely make out what she was saying. She kept repeating that she had seen that selfie and that he was hurt. Mark tried to explain that he was fine, but his wife was convinced that something was wrong. Finally, she blurted out, "I'm calling the police," and hung up. Mark was now feeling a mix of confusion, frustration, and fear. He didn't know what was going on, but he knew he had to find a way to reassure his wife and explain the situation. He started to make his way back down the trail, wondering what kind of mess he had gotten himself into. Mark's heart was pounding as he made his way down the trail. He couldn't understand why his wife had called the police, but he knew he had to get in touch with her and explain that he was okay. As he walked, he kept checking his phone, hoping for a message or a call. But there was nothing. No missed calls, no messages. It was as if his wife had vanished into thin air. Mark felt a rising sense of panic. What if something had happened to her? What if she was hurt or in danger? He started to jog down the trail, his eyes scanning the area for any sign of his wife. As he ran, he realized that the mountain was eerily quiet. There were no birds chirping, no squirrels scurrying. It was as if the whole area was holding its breath. Suddenly, Mark heard the sound of a helicopter in the distance. He looked up and saw a small chopper flying towards the mountain range. It was flying low and fast, and it looked like it was headed straight for him. Mark felt a sense of relief. Maybe the helicopter was part of a search and rescue team that had been sent to find him. Maybe they could help him find his wife and clear up the misunderstanding. But as the helicopter landed a few feet away from him, Mark saw that the pilot was not a search and rescue worker. He was a police officer, and he looked serious and stern. "What's going on here?" the officer demanded. Mark tried to explain that there had been a misunderstanding, that his wife had seen a selfie of him hiking and thought he was hurt. But the officer wasn't listening. He kept asking Mark for his identification and grilling him with questions about his whereabouts and activities. Finally, another police car arrived, and two more officers stepped out. They started to search Mark's backpack, looking for any signs of illegal activity or suspicious items. Mark felt a rising sense of frustration and anger. Why were the police treating him like a criminal? All he had done was send a selfie to his wife while hiking. But the officers were unrelenting. They told him that they had received a call from his wife, who was convinced that he was in danger or injured. They had to take the call seriously and investigate. Mark tried to explain again that there had been a misunderstanding, but the officers weren't interested in hearing his side of the story. They were more interested in finding any evidence that could incriminate him. Finally, after what seemed like hours of questioning and searching, the officers seemed to realize that Mark was telling the truth. They didn't find anything suspicious in his backpack, and he seemed genuinely confused and upset about the situation. They let him go, but not before warning him to be more careful about what he posted on social media and who he shared his personal information with. Mark was relieved to be free, but he was also angry and frustrated. He couldn't believe that his innocent hike had turned into a full-blown police investigation. He knew he had to get in touch with his wife and explain what had happened, but he wasn't sure how she would react. He felt a sense of betrayal and hurt that she had called the police without even giving him a chance to explain. Mark walked away from the encounter with the police feeling defeated and betrayed. He couldn't believe that his wife had called the authorities without even giving him a chance to explain himself. He didn't know how he was going to face her and fix their relationship. As he walked back to his car, he received a call from an unknown number. Hesitant at first, he decided to answer it. "Hello, is this Mark?" a woman's voice asked. "Yes, it is. Who's this?" Mark replied. "This is Laura, a hiker who saw you earlier today. I overheard the police officers questioning you, and I just wanted to check in and see if you're okay." Mark was taken aback by Laura's kindness. He explained to her that there had been a misunderstanding with his wife and that he was just out on a normal hike. "I understand," Laura said, "but I couldn't help but notice that you seem upset. Do you need someone to talk to?" Mark hesitated for a moment before opening up to Laura. He told her about his troubled relationship with his wife and how this incident had only made things worse. Laura listened intently and then suggested that they continue their hike together. Mark was hesitant at first, but he soon realized that he didn't want to be alone. He agreed to meet Laura at the trailhead and continue hiking with her. As they walked, Mark found himself opening up to Laura more and more. She was a great listener and had a calming presence that made him feel at ease. He couldn't believe that he had just met her, but he already felt like he had known her for years. Suddenly, they heard a loud scream coming from a nearby ridge. Laura immediately sprang into action, running towards the sound. Mark followed close behind, his heart racing. When they reached the top of the ridge, they saw a hiker lying on the ground, clutching his ankle in pain. He had clearly fallen down the steep slope and injured himself. Laura and Mark immediately went into rescue mode. They used their first aid kit to treat the hiker's ankle and then radioed for help. They stayed with him, offering him water and comfort until the rescue team arrived. As they made their way back down the trail, Mark couldn't help but feel grateful for Laura's presence. If it hadn't been for her, he never would have been able to help the injured hiker. He also realized that he had been wrong to assume that his wife had betrayed him. In reality, she had only been worried about his safety. When he got back to his car, he immediately called his wife to apologize and explain what had happened. She was relieved to hear that he was okay and that the police investigation had been a misunderstanding. Mark realized that this incident had brought him and his wife closer together. It had also shown him the kindness of strangers and the importance of having someone to talk to. He felt grateful for the experience and vowed to always be more careful about what he posted on social media. Mark's heart was pounding as he drove back home to meet his wife. He was unsure of how she would react to his apology, but he knew that he had to try and make things right between them. As he pulled into the driveway, he saw his wife standing outside, her arms folded across her chest. Mark got out of the car and approached her cautiously. "Hi, honey," he said tentatively. "I'm sorry about what happened earlier today. I know you were just worried about me, and I should have told you that I was going on a hike." His wife looked at him skeptically. "Why did you send that selfie then? It looked like you were in trouble." Mark sighed. "I just wanted to show you the beautiful scenery. I didn't think it would cause all this trouble. I should have been more careful with what I posted." His wife softened a bit and nodded. "I was just so scared when I saw that photo. I didn't know what to think, but I'm glad you're okay, and I'm sorry I called the police." Mark hugged his wife, relieved that they were able to put the incident behind them. He felt a sense of closeness and understanding that he hadn't felt in a long time. As they sat down to dinner together, Mark told his wife about his hike with Laura and how they had rescued an injured hiker. His wife listened intently, and Mark could see the admiration in her eyes. "I'm proud of you," she said, reaching across the table to take his hand. "You showed great bravery today." Mark smiled, feeling grateful for the forgiveness and love of his wife. He realized that sometimes it takes a near disaster to bring people closer together, and he was glad that they were able to come out of it with a stronger bond. In the days that followed, Mark made a conscious effort to spend more time with his wife and to be more open with her about his thoughts and feelings. He also made a point to stay in touch with Laura, grateful for the unexpected friendship that had come out of their chance encounter on the trail. As the weeks turned into months, Mark and his wife found that their relationship had grown deeper and more meaningful than ever before. They hiked together, traveled together, and explored new hobbies and interests. And through it all, they knew that they could count on each other to be there through thick and thin. Looking back on that fateful day on the trail, Mark realized that it had been a turning point in his life. It had taught him the importance of communication, the power of forgiveness, and the value of human connection. And he knew that he would never forget the lessons he had learned, even as he continued to explore the great outdoors and everything else that life had to offer. What did you think of this story? Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Like the video and subscribe. See you next time!